Kush's movie review.
This week's Kush's movie review is Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. Because Beverly Hills Cop 4 apparently wasn't a good enough title.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
I
terrible
hate this.
title.
Right before you get into the review, I thought my first thinking of this was because obviously Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is available right now on Netflix. So I thought that maybe the reason they're doing this is because we wanted a connection with Beverly Hills Cop, but we didn't want to make it obvious to those that maybe hadn't heard of the Beverly Hills Cop previous trilogy. So we don't want them going to other platforms to try to find Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3. They just want to stay on Netflix. We want to keep everything internal, right? Then, I don't know about any international stuff, but the early Beverly Hills Cops are on Netflix as well. So
They are.
surely you'd want people to get more watch time. Just call it Beverly Hills Cop 4. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Oh, it really annoys me. Way more than it should. Like you
You're not
remember
wrong,
earlier in the
Axel.
show
You're
where I
you're
said it takes a lot to push my button. Button pushed, Netflix.
oh, on this one? All right. Okay. Okay.
I just call it
It's
Better
not a
Call
good title.
4. It's a terrible title. Or
So
even
obviously
even if it was like something connected to the movie. Again, you're gonna get it. It's your movie review, but it's like if you didn't want to call it Beverly Hills Cop, call it something like Beverly Hills Cop 4. The Beverly Hills Cop. Uh, Back to Beverly Hills or something. You know what I mean? Something that makes it
Sure.
uh,
Yeah.
Axel F. It's just a shitty fucking title.
Not only is it a terrible title, but it's a terrible reference for a terrible title. What am I saying with that? Obviously, Eddie Murphy's main character is Axel Foley. Uh, the main theme in now all four Beverly Hills Cop films that is actually called Axel F. So it's the equivalent of Ghostbusters making the last movie that they just did called Ghostbusters theme from Ghostbusters.
Right. Or Rocky, gonna fly now.
Gonna fly. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what?
That'd actually be a great title, actually. Rocky Gonna Fly Now.
Well,
I wouldn't be mad at that title.
I got this machine. It's like a backpack and wings coming out. I jump out of a plane. The parachute. I'm gonna fly now.
That is a Stallone impression.
You know what? That would be a fun thing for Sylvester Stallone to do. Like maybe like a short, like 10-minute episodes of
Hmm.
Rocky doing things. Like
Hmm.
Rocky going parachuting, Rocky
Oh,
going paintballing. I was like, yeah, Rocky bowling,
okay.
Rocky cooking. Like that'd be fun little web series.
And
Cooking
with
with
the
Rocky because
DH,
now he's retired.
it would have to be back when he was younger. They're not going to let a 75-year-old man skydive anymore. That's
Hmm.
just not happening these days.
All right, then maybe just a cooking show then.
We do some de-aging stuff. It would make it a very expensive webisode series, but we could do that. I think that would be fun.
Make it happen, Sly. Make it happen.
Copyright Waffle Box
Yeah, then you
2024.
have to put us down as executive producers. So
There you go. That's
there you
what's
go.
up. We're, however, talking about Beverly Hills Cop, colon, Axel F. Again, terrible title. Beverly Hills Cop 4. It is rated R. It is just under 2 hours. I think it's like 1 hour, 56 minutes or whatever. Directed by, for this conversation, brand newcomer Mark Malloy. He's done like one other thing, but this is his first feature film. It's not theatrical. This should have been theatrical, even for the weekend. I don't think they would have done bad with it. Written by three more men, and you know how we do. So first names only. Will, Tom, and Kevin. Will actually has some experience with a previous movie we did 3 weeks ago, Bad Boys Ride or Die. That's his movie there. He also did Aquaman and the Justice League movie. And then Tom and Kevin, I'm sorry, I've drunk it out of my memory, but they've done some stuff too. They've actually got a better resume, those two, but still. Movie stars. Eddie Murphy as the titular Axel F. Terrible title. We got Joseph Gordon-Levitt. We got Taylour Paige. If you're not familiar with her, she was in the A24 movie Zola 2, 3 years ago. Fantastic film, very adult. Don't let your kids see that one. And then Kevin Bacon is the bad guy, which a lot of people are saying like that should have been a spoiler or should have been a surprise, but whatever. Kevin Bacon's great in this.
Why?
I don't know. That's what they think. Anyways, uh, Judge Reinhold and then John Ashton reprise their roles as Billy Rosewood and John Taggart. And yeah, man. So I think we announced this on a Waffle Box episode in the early days, and I was like, yeah, I ain't excited for this. It's been 30 years since Beverly Hills Cop 3, and that wasn't good. I love part one. I love part two. Soundtrack is fantastic. The comedy is great. The action is outstanding. The part three was dog shit, and we don't need a part four. What's gonna happen? Well, they said shut up, Kush. And they came out with this. They tried to do a Beverly Hills Cop TV show. They even filmed a pilot for it. We might talk about that a little later, but it didn't get past the pilot, and that pilot never got released in these United States. Again, more about that possibly later. So here it is, 30 years since we last caught up with Axel Foley. Um, it is not as good as Top Gun Maverick as far as outdated sequels that we didn't need. It is not as good as Top Gun Maverick, and it is not as emotional as Ghostbusters Afterlife, but god damn it, Mike Fish, I enjoyed this movie. Um, when we had the sequel to Coming to America 2 Christmases ago, same situation. I don't want this sequel. This is not going to be good. And ultimately, it was not good. Someone tried to compare it to me as like, think about it like an album, Kush, and this is the best of. I was like, we only had one Coming to America movie before this, man. So this is just literally remaking that movie and then twisting it here and then twisting it there. This is a terrible movie. This is actually the best of album for Beverly Hills Cop 4. We've had three of them before this. There's a lot of parts from part one. There's a lot of parts of part two. They make reference to part three, and even they're just kind of like apathetic about it. It's like, yeah, and then did some shit in 1994. Let's not talk about that though.
But yeah,
They,
they almost Rocky Balboa'd it, where they just kind of that didn't happen. Let's just
I would
ignore
have
that
been
happened.
more. I would have respected it more if they just said, if much like the Halloween series that we've had this last decade, was like, yeah, those other nine movies didn't happen. Don't worry about it. This is the real Halloween too. Don't worry about that shit. You know, in Beverly Hills Cop 3, John Ashton's character is very retired. And in fact, Axel Foley has lost contact with his friends, as will happen. But in this one, they're like, "Oh, Taggart's back." They're like, "I thought you retired." He's like, "I did." And then I hated hanging out home with the wife, so I became the chief of police. And it's like, oh,
Da-da-da.
you could just do that. All right,
But that
whatever,
was I
whatever.
thought it was a good throwback because he always hated his wife.
He always hated his wife. Yeah, again, best hits, the greatest of hits. So they again, the action in this is pretty good. It recycles a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily make sense in 2024. The opening scene, Axel Foley is in a snowplow and just causing so much public damage. The I don't know who Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings. The
Mm.
Red Wings locker is getting robbed. Axel, for some reason, knows this and ahead of time. He's there to foil the case. He chases after the bad guys. Look, man, if I start pulling on the threads of this sweater, the whole thing comes apart. So just know this movie is very flawed, but I had a great goddamn time with it. Uh, just real quick, the plot is Miss Taylour Paige and Billy Rosewood are working on a case. She's a lawyer. He's a private investigator now, and they discover some corruption within the Beverly Hills Police Department that gets Billy kidnapped and her almost bounced out of a fucking roof of a garage, which is actually a very exciting, intense scene. It's like, oh
Mm.
fuck. Um, Eddie Murphy comes in to save the day, and but he's estranged from his daughter, so there's some unnecessary bickering. But overall, shenanigans are in play. Axel Foley does what he does best, but he's also an older man now, So we're not hanging out at the strip club, but we are doing what we do best. But also at some point, Axel Foley is just like, yeah, this bit I normally do. I just whatever, man. Just here's my credit card. Just charge me some room and
I
tax.
I did
Let's
love
get
that
on with
scene
it.
where he like tried being old Axel Foley, and the second it just didn't work, he's like, ah, whatever.
He'd
I'm
already been like shot at 3 times that day. It wasn't a car chase. It was just like, uh,
I'm too old for this shit.
I'm 58 years old, or however old this character is supposed to be now. Yeah, like it was good. So I absolutely enjoyed this, Mike. I know you watched it. I saw it 3 times this holiday weekend. Okay.
Damn.
It's not the best movie by any means, but it was great to catch up with all the old friends. Kevin Bacon is a fantastic villain. I like Taylour Paige. I want to see more from her. That bitch actually cried on command. I can't do that. It maybe wasn't the most emotional scene, but she did it. And I was like, she's actually crying there. Good for her. So, Mike, I know you have some thoughts here. I'm giving this a low 4 out of 5, but I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 still.
Yeah, no, it was one of the it reminded me of now before I should say this is a better movie than the movie that I'm comparing it to. So don't
Mm-hmm.
but this
Okay, Mike.
reminded me of Bill and Ted 3.
Oh, that's a bad analogy. Really?
No,
Bill and
no,
Ted
no,
3 is
hear
not a
me
good
out.
movie.
Hear me out.
Bill and Ted 3 is a bad movie.
Because it was one of those, like you said, one of those movies where like, do we need this movie right now? No,
We did not.
but it was everything it had to be. It had all brought back all, like you say, the greatest hits. It just had the lines, blah blah. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
much better than Bill and Ted 3, but it was similar in the vein of just I don't need some over the top story just to make this different because you want it to be different from the first three. Just give me all the lines, give me the throwbacks, give me, just make
Mm-hmm.
me laugh and go, oh my god, yes, I remember that happening in the first one. Oh yeah, he said the thing that happened now. Oh, this is great. That's what I love this movie. I was
Okay.
telling over the weekend, someone was like, "Oh, have you seen Beverly Hills Cop 4?" I called it Beverly Hills Cop 4, and they were like, "Oh, I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?" And I said, "It's exactly what it needs to be. It's very Beverly Hills copy. You'll enjoy it. It's great."
Mm-hmm. All
And
right.
yeah, I was worried, I must admit, when they introduced the daughter, because like, oh, here we go. She's like the coming to America shit or whatever. Where they always like, oh, here's this movie hasn't been around for a while, so let's introduce a child protagonist into
Mm-hmm.
this. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. No
But I
mention of
thought,
the mother, by the way, or who she could be.
it doesn't need. I didn't think it was needed, but
Yeah, it is. Absolutely is.
is but they did it perfectly. I think where she wasn't overbearing in this, but they made it her the
Mm-hmm.
story very well, and it was a very good reason. Because I was wondering how they were going to get him. I'm going all over the place, but even like the intro when they were in Detroit, I was like, oh, and it had the heat is on music, and he was
Mm-hmm.
driving through the snow. It's like, oh, how are
That
they
is a
going to get him?
stupid
Goes,
scene.
it was, and it was like the greatest hits because he was
But
like
yeah, I was
driving.
still bouncing. I was like,
He was
yeah,
driving
yeah.
slowly through the streets of Detroit, and he knew everyone. And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what are you doing?" And they'd be like, "Fuck you, Axel." And he'd be like, like laughing along. Like it was the Beverly Hills Cop intro. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Um, I bet for me personally, I thought maybe they could have cleaned it. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what scenes they could have got rid of or shortened, but it felt a little bit long for me. I remember
Okay.
I was enjoying it, but I did remember at some point pausing it to see how long there was still to go. I was like, still another 30 minutes. Jesus Christ. So I
Okay.
think this
Okay.
could have been a tighter like 85 to 90 minutes rather than 2 hours. But other than that, I thought this was
Yeah, I mean, I believe all 3 movies before this are still under the 2 hour under umbrella. 85 minutes, no, that ain't gonna fly with this. However, yes, things could have been tightened up. And again, like we pull on the threads of this sweater, it all falls apart. So like when we're doing the intro theme with the heat is on, it's the dead of winter. And I'm just like, this is dumb. However, I do love this fucking song. And so like I'm just enjoying my bourbon and listening to the heat is on and like, Axel Foley's like again getting cussed out. You get 3 separate incidences in that intro. People are telling me, fuck you, Foley. And it's like, all right, well, that's funny. Whatever. Um, yeah, this was a better movie than it should have been. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I might watch it 5 or 6 more times. However, if you want a really good Beverly Hills Cop movie, the original stands the test of time. Um, I still enjoy part two. I know folks don't like it.
I thought it was great. Number two is
Universally, we
great.
all agree part three is not good. I tried to sell it
I
in
honestly,
1994 as a good time, but I was at the time just excited to see Beverly Hills Cop 3 in the theater. And I was in high school at that time. So,
I honestly like if someone put a gun to my head and said, "Tell me this the plot of Beverly Hills Cop 3, or I will
hmm,
shoot you," I would be dead because I
hmm.
would not be able to tell you what happens in Hills Cop
Oh,
3.
I
But
forget. Oh, there's some crooked cops or
no,
some shenanigans are afoot.
shock.
However, um, bad guys kill Eddie Murphy's police chief captain, Gil Hill. Holy motherfucker! That guy. Okay. By the way, that guy's got a fantastic history, which I might get into in a second here. Anyways, that guy gets deaded in the movie, and then fully follows the money. It leads to Beverly Hills, and then in this mock Disneyland situation, Foley has to uncover this corruption at Disneyland with their internal security. There's weapons and money laundering or something stupid happening. And for some reason, that's the only PG-13 one. Also filmed out here in San Jose, California at a it was Paramount's Great America. It's just Great America. It's just Great America. But for whatever reason, they decided to use that. Well, again, it was Paramount's Great America and it's Paramount Pictures. So, duh. Anyways, Gil Hill Gil Hill was actually, again, this is Axel Foley's original police captain, police chief. He was actually like heavily involved in the Detroit police force in real life. And then he got involved in some weird shenanigans where he got intimidated by a 14-year-old white boy who was selling guns and drugs, who somehow slept with the mayor's daughter, who was well over age. And then once he arrested that kid, again, we're talking about a teenage kid, kept him in jail way longer than his charges even allowed for. Like this kid committed some serious crimes, but like he didn't get out till he was like 38, 42, something weird. But all because the police chief from Beverly Hills Cop was just like, yeah, this kid's gonna fucking blow up my scene. I can't have that happen. So he's gonna stay in jail forever. And only finally got out after Gil Hill died. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel 4 out of 5.
Before we wrap it up, I will say, do you know what moment that made me pop the hardest? Made me go, "Oh my god, this is great."
Helicopter scene.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
When someone they needed something, I don't want to spoil too much, but
Oh, you are you
so,
talking
so
about Surge? Fuck Surge.
Surge.
Fuck
I
Surge.
was so happy to see Surge because I totally like I wasn't going into this movie thinking about him and like, oh that'd be great if he.
Mm.
So when he was pulled up, I saw I was like, yeah, it's Surge.
Again, best of hits, best of hits. He's the weakest part of this movie.
No,
And
it's
no
great.
offense to Bronson Pinchot. His character was not needed whatsoever. His character is actually
Absolutely
in
was.
Beverly Hills
Absolutely
Cop
was.
3.
He
Not
was
at all.
definitely, the only one that was missing that would have made this a pure 5 out of 5, and he was missing because RIP, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. I would have loved somehow a cameo of Gilbert Gottfried. That would have been his character in the Beverly Hills Cop
If he
was
was still alive,
hilarious.
that would have actually, I guarantee you,
That would have been
Sidney
great.
Bernstein would have been in this movie had he not been dead. Absolutely. I missed I miss Dick Jones, personally. Captain Bogomil. I don't
Mm,
know. Ronnie Cox. I don't know why that took me 3 attempts to get that name. Ronnie Cox. But also, he would have been retired anyways. So, but yeah, it would have been great. Just like, hey, you want to go fishing, Axel? Whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I had a good
Walking
time with this.
tickets. What? Walking tickets. That was a
So,
terrible
like I
Gilbert
said,
Gottfried
about a
impression.
decade ago, they tried to make this a TV show, and they filmed the
Let me look this
pilot.
up. Who's in
And
this?
I don't know what made them decide to do it, but they're just like, nah, we're not doing this. However, they didn't necessarily shelve it. They released it, I guess, as like a special night event or whatever in France. It's now on YouTube with French subtitles, but you can
Ooh.
watch the Beverly Hills Cop pilot. There's not an episode 2. It's just the one pilot. And Jesse T. Usher, who most folks today know as A Train on The Boys, he plays Axel Foley's son, who for whatever
Oh.
reason gets involved in a thing where he has to go from Detroit to Beverly Hills, and then is ultimately becomes actually a Beverly Hills cop because of some transfer. It's TV writing. They make it make sense. However, it's just like, wow, this Jesse T. Usher has like had a whole previous career where he was just playing famous black people's sons. He is the son of Will Smith in Independence Day 2. He is the son of John Shaft in Shaft 2019. That Samuel L. Jackson's Shaft, to be clear. He is the son of Martin Lawrence in Big Mama's House Part 3. And it's like, they really tried to get this kid's career off the ground. He's also in like a Percy Jackson movie or something. However, A Train from the Boys is in the Beverly Hills Cop pilot. He's not bad in it, but it's not a good 58 minutes or however long it is. It's the length of a TV show.
Yeah, I was looking up. Apparently, the biggest problem, the gift and the curse, was that Eddie Murphy was in it
Eddie
because
Murphy is in it, and it's just like, why are you here?
apparently, according to test audiences, like they were super happy to see Eddie Murphy in the show,
Mm-hmm.
but then
Same,
when he was
same.
like not in it, they were like, "Oh, is that it? We want more Eddie Murphy. What the hell?"
We want more Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's not doing a TV show. I doubt he would have been in episode 2. Um, the actual episode ends with him and Mayor Billy Rosewood leaving the Beverly Hills Police Department and like, let's go to a strip club. And he's like, oh, Axel, you're so crazy. I was like, I know, but we're gonna go to a strip club. And he's like, all right, I guess I'm the mayor. Who cares? Ah.
So I guess we got his daughter. So what the fuck happened to his son? They didn't even
Well,
mention that
son
in
now
Beverly
doesn't
Hills Cop
exist.
4.
His son doesn't exist anymore.
Bless him. Anyway, we're off on a tangent ish.
Yeah,
So yeah,
tangent-ish.
Beverly Hills. Check out Beverly Hills Cop, the TV show pilot on YouTube. Just search for it. But Beverly Hills Cop 4, aka Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, available now on the Netflix. 4 out of 5.
Hit all the nostalgia beats just correctly. Did not insult us with he's old, he's old, he's old. We know he's old. He shows us he's old. It's but yeah, I
So yeah,
enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch it again.
so
That's all, folks.
Play me off, Johnny.